Yeah. Sir, can we proceed with the program?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. A very good evening to all the dignitaries, all the participants who have joined from all corners of the states. And my dear friends, I, Dr. Kalicharan Modak, on behalf of IBMR IPS Academy and Dr. Vivek Singh Kushwaha sir, the coordinator of this program, I feel very honored to welcome you all to the 2-week ATAL FDP programs on essential of successful case-based teaching, sponsored by AICTE Training and Learning Academy. So before starting with the session, I request you all to join hands for Saraswati Vandana.
या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा विचारसार परमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणा पुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदा जाड्यान्धकारापहा हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्
So with the blessings of Goddess Saraswati and permission from the dignitaries, I would like to introduce Professor Dr. Yogesh Upadhyay sir. Dr. Yogesh Upadhyay sir is the Dean Faculty of Management, Jivaji University, Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. Dr. Yogesh Upadhyay sir is the current head of School of Studies in Management and Dean of Management Faculty at Jivaji University, Gwalior. He is the founding Vice Chancellor of ITM University in Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh and ITM SLS Baroda University in Baroda. He was also instrumental making operational a unique university dedicated exclusively to rural development, the Mahatma Gandhi Chitrakoot Gramodaya University in Chitrakoot, Satna, founded by Bharat Ratna Nanaji Deshmukh. His work has been published among other A-star or A category journal. He has delivered his papers at IIM Ahmedabad, ISB Hyderabad, and IIM Bangalore. Internationally, he has presented his work at Harvard and various other universities. His work have been recognized by prominent organizations like the American Marketing Association and the Association of Consumer Behavior. So he is also the 2007 recipient of the prestigious Best Business Academic of the Year Award from Osmania University. In 1992, he obtained a JRF in management. He was meritorious at MPPSC Assistant Professor Examination in 1992. He has successfully completed FDP at IIM Ahmedabad. In 2020, he also finished the famous LEAP course of Indian government. He has completed prestigious program on intellectual property rights from WIPO, Geneva, on corporate governance from the World Bank. So on behalf of entire IBMR IPS Academy, I welcome you, sir, to this 2 weeks faculty development program sponsored by ATAL Academy. And this is the outline of the session, which will be taken by the sir itself. Insights on case-based teaching in human resource management, and this is the timeline of this particular session. So I once again welcome you, sir, on behalf of IBMR IPS Academy family. Now, without wasting much time, I am just handing over this virtual dais to you, sir.
Thank you, Ali Charanji. It is a pleasure, and since you are connected all through, you have made me somehow cajoled me to be part of this FDP, and really it's a prestigious program, and I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. And I'm really thanked for the words of wisdom, kind words to introduce me. And I'm thankful to your Professor Vivek Kushwaji, to you, your faculty members, for making part of this FDP program. And this is on case-based pedagogy in HRM. But as I already expressed reservations beforehand to Kali Charanji, any case-based pedagogy, how to make it effective, how to exercise the cases in classroom is a challenge on a virtual platform. But still, I'll try to whatever I can do on this virtual platform to best of my abilities. And I believe all of us know how case-based teaching came into management, and it has to be a two-way road. If at all this session has to go forward. So I request all the participants to live by the spirit of one epithet or phrase which was coined by Professor C.K. Prahlad, erstwhile late Professor C.K. Prahlad, and that phrase is co-creation. So co-creation is all about coming together. So teaching, I call it like a dhaba system, where people who order the food and people who make the food both participate. We will ask them to get lesser spice, or the roti thodi kadak hona chahiye, and this and that, which we are not able to do in a McDonald's or KFC for that matter. So let's be into the dhaba system, and let's participate into this case-based pedagogy. And I actually, this FDP program I attended in 2005 as well at IIM Ahmedabad. At that time, it was around 4 months. Now it is around 40 days. So I could not complete at that time. Lately, I just, for the completion purpose, I attended it. So case-based pedagogy, where from it came, only 5 minutes I'll reflect on that. Maybe most of you know that. When I visited Harvard University in 2007, they allocated one student guide to all the professors who were there as a participants. And we were taken all along the Harvard University. And we were shown, first of all, they made us enter to law faculty of Harvard University. And when we entered into the law faculty, they simply appraised us that lot of presidents of America, USA, have passed out from this school. And when you read this history of case study, you will come to know this case study has come from law school to Harvard Business School. The law is taught through cases. Why not to teach business through cases to in management school? What are the other possible alternatives? Is the case only possible alternative to teach management, business management, or there is any other possible alternative? Or should it only be case? Why it cannot be any other way? The way medical schools are being taught or architects are being taught. When I entered into the class of architecture, we had an architecture faculty at ITM Gwalior, even at ITM Vadodara. when we enter into the classroom of architects, they don't call their classrooms. They call their classrooms studios. The students are standing there. There are performing tables in front of them. Whatever the teacher or instructor is passing on the instructions, on real-time basis, they have to implement it through creation of different models. Medical, what we see is that doctors, always the apprenticeship, Munna Bhai MBBS must have been watched by all of us. So what happens, not on that side of medical education, the other side in the classroom, what happens is that on live case studies, they work, they stand there, and through instructions, they are being taught. So most of the professions have devised their own mechanism how to inculcate the learning, imbibing the learning into the thoughts, that is the subjects. So case study at some point of time was picked up as a genuine method of transferring knowledge to the wards, that is the participants. And I believe, since we all are management scholars, one of the big role of implementing, bringing this case study to management schools, though Harvard Business School has done for all of us, it is Alfred Chandler. So please keep hook this name somewhere there in your minds. Alfred Chandler, he is known to be one of the greatest business historians till date. And we'll refer to him when we discuss this. We are through this session. So this session is up to 7:50. Let's try to make best use of it. I thought to bring some ready material. See how this class was conducted at IIM Ahmedabad. Let me share you. The same class was conducted at IIM Ahmedabad. They gave a case study beforehand, 30 to 40 pages. We were divided into groups, and we were supposed to make presentation 17 or 18 years back. And we came back prepared and we made presentations respectively. So here at virtual platform, what are the possibilities that I was wondering? Then I came with an idea. Rather than distributing, and it's very difficult to create groups from a remote group, remote participants who are located remotely. Though a lot of innovations have been done by Modakji. One of the innovations just now we saw Saraswati Vandana. I haven't seen Saraswati Vandana on any online platform. So I congratulate him, Kali Charanji, for making the Saraswati Vandana part of this particular routine. And I'll definitely inculcate it when I use it somewhere in my, create some online sessions at Jivaji University. So it is all about innovation, creating something new. And that is the topic for today, HR. And more so, my research area, I work both in HR and marketing. One of my research area is creativity and innovative work behavior. So innovative work behavior and creativity of employees, it's connected to my research work also. So I'll be able to reflect on that aspect as well. So I felt like, why not to, rather than a text case study, I should come out with a brief video case study. So, and what this case based discussion won't happen if I don't know how it will go forward when all the cameras are off, and it's a case based this thing. So when cameras are off, how you are able to connect? The best way actually, when you are running this kind of discussion, the cameras have to be on. In case we require a certificate only, then the things are different. And if we really want to take something from the session, then there has to be some kind of eye contact, involvement has to be there. And if there is an involvement, session will go ahead. If there is no involvement, then itself it will itself become a case. What needs to be done in such kind of session so that it enhances the involvement of the students? So I think, Kali Charanji, if cameras are on, we should take them as present.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Or otherwise, we should mark absent in this session.
Sure, sir, sure.
This is the famous reward theory, which we had. So what Pavlov and Skinner, specifically Skinner, when he proposed this learning theory, we won't learn if there is if rewards are not there. So let's create please create a list of the participants whose cameras are on. They will be counted as present. Actually, engagement, when we talk of engagement, no, Khan wrote an article, very interesting article in 1990. Since we all are perhaps from HR domain only, even if we are not, customer engagement connects to HR, this thing, employee engagement. And his 1990 paper, if you have read it, he clearly says that physical presence means nothing. It is psychological presence. And I am not even asking for a psychological presence. I'm only asking for your facial presence. Your camera, I cannot actually that way see you whether you are psychologically present or not. So taking clue from the Khan's article of employee engagement. So let's try to be as much as possible psychologically present. I'm sharing a video with you, all of you. The video has been prepared by Harvard Business Review. And this is the theme of the video. I believe it is visible. It is organizing for innovation. So how to organize is always a challenge. And Taylor gave his own way, then Fail gave the principles how to organize. Then different kind of organizations came there. And Jack Welch came with the concept of a strategic SBUs. He called it SBUs. The whole business should be organized like a strategic business unit. What is the right form of organization? Or I also challenge the universities, the way they are organized. Should it be Department of Management, or should it be Department of Technology and Management? Or you can club this management department with another, or should it be subject-wise? The department should be interdisciplinary. Again, it's a challenge how to organize. The Apple, this market capitalization of Apple was $3 trillion just few months back. Now there is a tech meltdown. Anyway, but the most profitable company, how it is experimenting, it is always curious to know how it is organizing. And can we get some clue or offer some clue out of it? We all have to create our notes. Please keep our pencil and paper ready. There is a participation. What Apple is doing, we have to add. Can we add value to what Apple is doing? Can we point out some positives, some negatives of what Apple is doing? That is the crux of today's discussion. So, fine. Having said that, I'll take you to my media player, and if it is not audible, just let me know. Let's go through it. Is my media player visible? Can I put it on?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay. Just please take pen and pencil and listen carefully. Watch carefully what is being demonstrated. The questions, perhaps, beforehand, let me again clarify you. These are the important points. When you are watching the video, we'll be discussing on these points. Is Apple's approach convincing? Number one. Number two, what are the implications of such and, not and, it is and, mistakenly typed as and. Implication of such an approach. Applications can be positive as well as negative. Third will be, what can be the other possible alternatives? Now, these are the three aspects which we have to ponder on. If you want to have a screenshot, you can take a screenshot. These are the points of discussions of today after watching the video. And we are trying to discuss and ponder upon organizational structure, the way organizations are structured. This is the area, this is where what we'll be discussing today. Having said that, now let's watch that video and prepare your summary. Be ready to prepare your notes based on these 3 points. We begin here.
Sir, audio is not audible.
Audio is not audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me see if I have some alternative.
Back in 1997, Steve
Yes, sir.
Jobs
Now audible.
organized the
Okay.
functional structure at Apple. That is, he divided the company into departments based on domain expertise rather than traditional business units. Ever since this change in structure took place, Apple's managers at every level have been expected to possess 3 key leadership characteristics. The first is deep expertise. Apple is not a company where general managers oversee managers. Here, experts lead experts. The company believes that it's easier to train an expert to manage well than to train a manager to be an expert. In a 1984 interview, Jobs said, "Do you know who the best managers are? They are the great individual contributors who never, ever want to be a manager, but decide they have to be because no one else is going to do as good a job." The upside is this: Apple's 600 plus experts on camera hardware technology work in a group led by Graham Townsend, a camera expert himself, because iPhones, iPads, laptops, and desktop computers all include cameras. These experts would be scattered across product lines if Apple was organized in traditional business units. Consider how this would dilute their collective expertise and their power to drive innovations. The second leadership must at Apple is an immersion in the details. Apple believes leaders should know the details of their organization 3 levels down. They should be able to push, probe, and smell an issue and know which details are important and where to focus their attention. Take, for instance, how its senior leaders pay extreme attention to the exact shape of products' rounded corners. Let's take a moment to understand this. The standard method for rounding corners is to use an arc of a circle to connect the perpendicular sides of a rectangular object, which produces a somewhat abrupt transition from straight to curve. In contrast, Apple's leaders insist on continuous curves, resulting in a shape known in the design community as a squircle. The slope starts sooner, but is less abrupt. The difference is subtle, and executing it isn't simply a matter of a more complicated mathematical formula. It demands that Apple's operations leaders commit to extremely precise manufacturing tolerances to produce millions of iPhones and other products with squircles. And this deep immersion in detail isn't pushed down to the lower levels. It is central to the leadership level. The third leadership imperative at Apple is a willingness to collaboratively debate. Apple has hundreds of specialist teams across the company, dozens of which may be needed for even one key component of a new product offering. For example, the dual lens camera with portrait mode required the collaboration of no fewer than 40 specialist teams. The collaborative debate approach involves people from various functions who disagree, push back, promote or reject ideas, and build on one another's ideas to come up with the best solutions. It requires open-mindedness from senior leaders and for them to inspire, prod, or influence colleagues to contribute towards these goals. To recap then, deep expertise, immersion in details, a willingness to collaboratively debate. When managers have these attributes, decisions are made in a coordinated fashion by the people most qualified to make them. Like it does at Apple, adding to its innovation and success.
One more video I am sharing, and then we'll start the debate.
What is Apple best known for? Easy answer. For its innovation in hardware, software, and services for a wide range of products such as computers, iPhones, and iPads. Now, here's what's less known and equally significant about the company. Its organizational design and the associated leadership model that have played a crucial role in driving its innovation success. It all began after Steve Jobs returned to Apple as CEO in 1997. One of his first acts on his return? Laying off the general managers of all the business units in a single day. Not a move that inspires a welcome party, but there was a method to Jobs' madness. Apple at the time had a conventional structure for a company of its size and scope. It was divided into business units, each with its own profit and loss responsibilities. Jobs believed this conventional management stifled innovation. He put the entire company under one P&L and combined the different functional departments of the business units into one functional organization. Simply put, a functional structure divides an organization into departments based on their function. These departments are headed by functional managers who are experts in the roles they supervise. The functional structure, which Apple retains to this day, ensures that those with the most expertise and experience in a particular domain have the decision rights for that domain. Senior vice presidents at Apple, then, are in charge of functions, not products. As was the case with Jobs before him, current CEO Tim Cook occupies the only position on the organizational chart where the design, engineering, operations, marketing, and retail of any of Apple's main products meet. In effect, besides the CEO, the company operates with no conventional general managers. Apple's structure is based on two views. First, the organization competes in a market with a high rate of technological change and disruption. It has to rely on the judgment and intuition of technical experts who can predict which technologies and designs are likely to succeed. General managers are unlikely to be able to do that. Second, Apple's commitment to offer the best possible products would not be achieved if cost and price targets were the fixed parameters within which to make design and engineering choices. Instead, R&D leaders are expected to weigh the benefits to users against cost considerations. A case in point is the decision to introduce the dual lens camera with portrait mode in the iPhone 7 Plus in 2016. Paul Hubel, a senior leader who played a central role in the portrait mode effort, and his team were taking a big risk. If users were unwilling to pay a premium for a phone with a more costly and better camera, the team would have less credibility the next time it proposed an expensive upgrade or feature. The camera turned out to be a defining feature for the iPhone 7 Plus. Under a traditional structure, Hubel would not have been empowered to take such a risk, and the feature would likely not have been made because traditional cost and price analysis lack a deep understanding of users' needs. It's easier to get the balance right between attention to costs and the value added to the user experience when the leaders making decisions are those with deep expertise in their areas. This explains Jobs' decision to change the way Apple works. The combination of its organizational structure and its leadership model not only saved the company from bankruptcy, but also transformed it into one of the most influential tech companies in the world.
So I believe so three issues which we have, I already propped up in bit before it, and they are quite easier given the breadth of the videos. But let me clarify a few points before I start. Alfred Chandler, quote unquote to Alfred Chandler, he said that the structure follows the strategy. Prior to Alfred Chandler in 1960, everybody believed when he gave this kind of a statement everybody believed that organizational structure follows strategy. Rather, he said other way around. Strategy actually follows organization structure. That underpins the importance of organization structure in any organization. To me, Apple's way of organizing is just opposite to what we teach in today's management books. So coming back to our basic questions, is Apple approach convincing? Or it can be paraphrased in any other manner. What are its implications, downsides or upsides, if at all they are? So that is what is we need to discuss. If you have something to add, we can discuss on that. Otherwise, I'll narrate few more things regarding innovation. Yes, is Apple's approach convincing?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, whatever case study we, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, please.
Yeah. Sir, as far as this, storyline of this case study goes, I find Apple's approach is very convincing. And yes, as you have said that what are can be the drawbacks or what we are not teaching today or what we are doing opposite at present times. So basically, the things we can ponder after watching this case is Apple's approach was first upon experts lead experts. So here I just want to ask that was Apple into making those managers into experts? Like, were they doing that task of making people experts first, or they just wanted to hire experts from the market and making use of their expertise or domain expertise? So that was the answer.
I'll give this clarification, Deepthi, since I have read his autobiography as well. 1997, he came back. He was thrown out of the same company which he created. When he came back, he threw all the managers who were heading different departments or business units. And the reason which the video clearly illustrates is like he wanted to organize it in a very different form. Let me share that form to all of you. Then you will be more clear and we will be more clear what to discuss. And the form which is there, you can see this is the organization chart. This is the Tim Cook at the top. Is this visible, this particular chart?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are senior vice president. Now see the new organization and the kind of functional organization which we teach in our business books. Is this functional organization different from the functional organization which we teach are in books? In what way this functional organization is different? What is so unique about it? What is so different about it? You have several vice president, you will see, and several senior vice president. And senior vice presidents, they are heading retail, internet, software and services, software engineering, chief financial officer, hardware engineering, worldwide marketing, general counsel, hardware technologies, user interface design, communications, industrial design, environment policy, social initiatives. These are headed by vice presidents. Dean, Apple University, they have created a university, we very well know that, and worldwide human resources. And there is a chief design officer and chief operating officer who are directly reporting to Tim Cook. So now the point is that we are also teaching HR in our classes. This is one very different course of organizational structure which has been created by Apple as such. So Apple, this Steve Jobs, when he came back, he shunted all the business unit managers out of the organization. And the case talks about that experts should lead experts. Now, this is particularly challenging because in whole of our country, in India, this is a very big debate. The debate is IAS should not lead every department. It should be led by the people from their domain expertise. Medical education, for example, department should be led by a doctor. not by IAS, or different verticals. If it is a forest department, it should be led by IFS, not by IAS. IPS want that they should be at the top of the job, rather IAS governing them. So it's not a debate which only circles around Apple organization structure. It is all around us happening. Recently in Ayush Mantralaya, at the Government of India, they appointed a domain expert rather than an IAS. He is one of my friends. He was appointed directly as a joint secretary to Ayush Mantralaya. He was the Vice Chancellor of Ayurveda University in Gujarat. Point is, should there be experts? What are the other ways? IAS also criticize experts. They say that see the state of Medical University at Jabalpur. It is in shambles because experts are there in charge of they are control of examination, they are registrar, and every time there is a news of Medical University, negative news of the Medical University. So they too have their examples. So where this debate should end, what should be the right closer to this debate? Should expert be permitted to lead experts? This is number one question. Number two question which comes in for because of this case is that how this departmentation should happen. Should the departmentation go in line with the earlier functional structure, or this functional structure is a little bit different or unique? That is the challenge. What is the uniqueness in Apple's functional structure? If you see directly this chart here.
Good evening, sir. This is Dr. Chavi Saxena. I just want to say that we are having our organization structure here, which is focusing on people, process, tasks, and it is something functionality where the strategic move is being done and the key person are bearing all the risk. So there is less chances of some errors in this model, and exactly the people that are required to specifically perform that role and responsibilities are there. So I think so this is the right model where the risk related to the market is being covered, and as the people are of high domain at the strategic level, so they can better exercise their power, and I think so the things will be organized very well here.
See, Apple was a $3 trillion company. So it's very easy. You gave the logic as well, but fairly it is very easy to say that Apple, whatever Apple is doing right. So because they are making so much of profit and their share prices or their market capitalization is the highest in world at present. You came out with certain logic. It is around processes, this and that. Can you pinpoint any particular example from the chart here? That will give us a lead to what you are saying. You have to pinpoint a particular department, which usually is not found. But Apple created that department. And they want that, okay, experts should lead this department.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jaya Jayasinghani.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, sir. So a very unique thing which I'm noticing here right now is the worldwide human resource department is reporting to the vice presidents. So it's very unique to see HR placed somewhere, you know, in a hierarchical structure like this, which Apple has redefined and redesigned. So would like to know more of, you know, like how this function is being managed with the, you know, not by the HR functional heads, but by the, you know, directly by the VPs of the company.
That is what I want to know. Don't put onus on me. don't turn the things on my head. Whatever so, I had the video, which I have shown to all of you.
Because sir, we have
in cases, the interesting part and the important part, Dr. Jaya, is you cannot move out of the contours of the case. Though I may give example from here and there, we have to stick to the information which is given into the case. We are not even allowed in a case to read today's Economic Times or refer to today's Economic Times. So the video which was seen by you was also seen by me.
Exactly.
So the point is that based on that only we have to draw our conclusion. This is an addendum which I have added so that people are able to visualize it. Based on the video, we may not be able to visualize the kind of departmentation which they have done. This is
Because-
added information. I am trying to make the case more rich. It is
Yes,
like
yes.
that.
Because the conventional structures we all know and we have been seeing, and this is something which is very deep down. This is something which is, being the structure, organization, design. It's completely different here. So it's a new thing to learn actually.
What is different and what is new? I am not able to understand.
Because
What
I
is
have
different and what is
seen
new in it? I don't see anything new and anything different from what is happening in other organizations.
the conventional structures, which is like how the departmentation is done in an organization structure.
Here, what is unique in this? Can you pinpoint any particular department? This is one thing unique which is not happening in other departments.
Sir, I would like to add, like,
Yeah.
I am finding this user interface design is unique because I never saw this as a separate, some kind of functional department where vice president can take a direct report from. So, and they have, in fact, differentiated user interface design as well as industrial design on a different portal, you can say. So
Fine.
that
I'll take your point. I'll take your point. You have picked the one important department. I'll come to that. Let's see what others have to say. This is interesting input. And we have already left with 5 minutes, I believe.
Sir, I think so. The vice
Ali
president.
Charanji,
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir.
how much time we have in this session?
Yeah, for this particular session, we are having 5 minutes, or if you want, so we can continue with the session, sir.
No, I like to break. So can we break at 8? 15 minutes. Like to
Yes.
do more.
Yes, yes,
Can
sir.
we break for 10 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Or we can continue as per the participant's wish. And we can directly finish it off at 9. Continue with it.
Yes, sir.
If everybody agrees to that, so that everybody will be able to have their palatable dinners, which are waiting for them on their tables. So fine. Deepthi has picked up very well the user interface design. So
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, please.
Myself, Mayank Jain.
Yeah, please, Mayank ji.
I am not finding the finance department here as a separate department.
Here is Chief Financial Officer is here. Senior Vice President is so your job is secured, Mayank ji. You can apply to him. You have a department of finance as well, but he is headed by Senior Vice President. Here the HR department is given to Vice President only. The HR people should be annoyed that their department is not headed by a Senior Vice President. So they give lesser importance to HR vis-a-vis Vice President of the Senior Vice President. But we should all appreciate one point. In this tech meltdown, Apple is the only company which is not retrenching its employees. Whereas the rest of the Google in masses, in droves, they are retrenching employees. So we should appreciate the HR policy of Apple. It is as simple as that. So any other input from this?
Good evening, sir. I am Piyush Lad.
Okay, yes, Piyush.
Sir, just one query that the last one, hardware technology, it is not connected to any hierarchy or any reporting. Is it any logic behind that?
Maybe they have mistaken in not connecting it. It's a drawing.
Okay.
Lab. It is drawing lab, nothing more than that. We should not.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
How can anything be hanging in vacuum?
Right. Good evening, sir.
You must be very inquisitive student when you are in school. I can imagine that.
Good evening, sir. This and
Yeah.
Dr. Ruchi Mehra and Kashyap.
Ruchi, welcome. Good evening.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. Sir, I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
And I'm also good. Your vice presidency is languishing under vice president, your HR department. They are
Yeah,
not
sir.
any senior vice president. So what
But
you
sir,
have to submit?
Sir, but as you said, like they are not putting them onto the chart, but their policies are so sound, and they have an impact of that policy on the high edge also. So they are indirectly giving importance to the HR, but not showing it on the structure.
But that is not the point of Richie. That's not the point of discussion. It was only in lighter vein that was said.
Yeah.
What is so unique about this organization structure that it leads any organization to innovation?
Sir, if we see to the structure, each and every domain which has been highly required for the innovation, it is being put into the picture. And they are very well going into a collaboration and a crafted way to reach to the innovation, which is an end point of them.
How you know that all of these things are related to innovation? If I am made, Tim Cook is replaced by Yogesh Upadhyay, I like to add one more department into it. How you can be so confident about this? These are the only department the Apple should have.
No, it's like they are into an reform part also. If they find something missing in their structure and which is to be added for the part of an innovation.
I'm not able to get it. How this departmentation, this kind of expert guiding other experts will lead to innovation. My question is that connect between innovation and this kind of logic and organization structure of Apple. So, for example, you might be serving in some organization at Pune. Right now, perhaps you are in Pune, as far as my memory serves me. So, will you request your institute to organize the Apple's Way from tomorrow? You worked with IPS Academy also, perhaps.
Sir, I have.
Can you tell the departmentation? This should be the departmentation which IPS Academy should follow. My point is that what is the connect between the innovation and this kind of departmentation? Number one. Number two, expert leading experts. They gave the logic. Experts should lead to experts.
Right. Sir, if we talk about the Apple products, they are more towards the innovation, and innovation as they are into their domain where it requires more of the technology, more of the understanding of the what I should say technical expertise into it, and the people who understand it.
I'll take some time to understand what you are saying.
Can we say that?
I'll come back to you. Yes, Dr. Jaya is saying something.
Sir, can we call this organization structure as a leadership oriented structure or a model?
How it is leadership oriented? You have used the word one oriented. I'll agree to that, but I like to prefix with it something else here.
It's a combination.
Important part is, let me tell you, are we teaching our students that this structures lead to innovation? In any of the book which is written by Robbins or written by Ellen Prashad or any Tom, Dick and Harry, is there a chapter how organization structure can lead to innovation? Is there a chapter? Are we taking some cases in our classes that organization structure actually can lead to innovation? This is something very unique Apple is doing, and it is helping us to create a lecture on this. It is showing some way that organization structure can be instrument of innovation. Now, how organization structure can be an instrument of innovation? That is where we need to take input from there. Yes, anyone.
Sir, Dr. Shruti this side.
Okay.
Yes, Sir, Dr. Shruti. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Sir, I don't belong to an HR domain, but as far as I can see the organization structure over here, it's a heterogeneous group of people.
So
but
is on or not?
Sir, it is, but I am. Okay. Am I audible and visible to you, sir?
Yeah, now you are visible. Yes, please.
Okay. Sir, what I understand, despite I don't belong to an HR domain over here, but the organization structure seems to be a combination of heterogeneous people, but the experts from entire domain, all the entire domain of innovators who can create out of the league product, like retail. If I can just see the first vertical, retail, internet software, then there is a chief financial officer moving in, then there is a general counsel and a hardware technologies. It's a heterogeneous group of experts working in a similar direction that is aimed at, fulfilling the objective of coming up with the most innovative idea that can beat the competition in the market is what
In
I
nutshell,
understand.
what you want to say, we should pick up innovative people and pack them, put them into different departments.
The best brains, the best brains working in the same direction under one vision.
That means brains are manufactured outside, and these manufactured brains should be brought into Apple. Or Apple claims that give us any raw brain, we will make them innovative. What is the right argument?
The first one, I would say. Picking up the best brains from the market. Yeah, so picking the best brains from the market.
All about culture. Innovation is a culture. Innovation is not something which individual can take ahead. It is a culture.
Yes.
And all culture, people who come from outside, they have to subscribe this culture. And once you are part of this culture, you definitely will become committed to innovate. So Apple culture doesn't have a meaning. Will it not push people to innovate?
It will. When there is a combination or a culmination of ideas coming in, as we usually say in management, that brainstorming comes up.
Where from the ideas come?
The brainstorming sessions, when all the ideas are sent on the same table.
So Newton got the idea when Apple was falling from brainstorming?
No, that was a natural process.
Sir, I think so.
He observed it.
He observed it.
So the point is that there one word which was used in video, detailing. People who pay attention to details. Yes. It is not about only brainstorming. Do you have, I know one of the guy who appeared in the Apple interview, there was a difference. He was asked to prepare a graphic line based on some program. The difference was of some microns and he was rejected. They want 100% perfection. So I take some of your idea, but the point is that best people lie outside Apple, and organization is not able to mentor them. Their culture doesn't play any role. Their departmentation doesn't play any role. Their processes doesn't play any role. It will be difficult to buy that idea. So
agreed.
Fine, but I take one idea that we should hire some of the best brains, which Apple is already doing. But yes, they should be fitted. The point is, what should be the compartments we should create where they should fit in, how they should be connected on day-to-day basis, how they should communicate with each other. For creating a camera, 40 teams are coming together. From which department? These are departments in front of you. They are coming from 40 teams are coming from different departments. Pay attention to detail of the video, of the case study. Read every word carefully of the case study. That is the mantra of reading case study. Underlining the important point. I told beforehand, taking notes of it. Because you can actually push a point which other may not. If you have paid, we have paid attention to the details of written case study or a video case study. Very attentively, we have to watch or share. I agree to, that's a very simple formula. Shilji, your name is?
Shiji, yes sir, correctly spelled.
Your name is
yes,
Shiji.
Sir.
So
yes,
Shiji, it is very easy. You take a good input, output will be good. In nutshell, that is your suggestion. If input is good, output will be good. You take bright people, Apple will be able to innovate.
No, it's like a two-way process. You take up people, you train them, you mentor them, you put them under good mentorship. The culture also, kind of nourishes them.
The question here is, Shiji, what is the contribution of organization structure? Simple, which we are not teaching in our classes. Does organization structure contribute to innovation? Bright people will come out with novel ideas. Organization will also contribute in further nurturing this idea. We can speak on length on that aspect. What about the organization structure? Where organization structure comes into the picture?
Sir, organizational structure comes after the strategic analysis of the organization where it is standing. It will be an environmental scanning, and according to that, the structure will be decided that is being done here.
Who is speaking?
Sir, Dr. Chavi Saxena.
Okay. You can give a wonderful speech, Chavi. I really am glad to listen to you. And I agree to whatever you say, but I'm
Sir,
little naive to understand it, what you are saying. And you will get 20 out of 20 marks when you take the written examination for sure. That I
Okay,
agree.
sir.
Because it contains all the keywords. We use keywords in a research paper which attracts examiners, but may not be sufficient to come out of this conundrum which we are in. Can I
Sir,
say one thing? Let me move towards closer. Because Kali Charanji
yes, sir.
otherwise will object to this format, which I am trying to innovate a bit.
Sir,
He
I want to
celebrated
say
by bringing
something.
Saraswati Vandana. He innovated the format by bringing Saraswati Vandana. I innovated the format by breaking that break which was already there. So I don't know. Yes,
Sir, may I say?
you were saying something. Yes, please, please.
Sir, one more thing which I have observed and I am able to link it with the case study we just watched before. I guess this structure of Apple is favoring more collaboration between the functional departmentalization. What the three key factors which we saw
I
in the
agree.
case study. So as compared to the traditional departmentalization, which is just marketing, finance, and HR and IT wise, so I guess this is more collaborative, and due to this being more collaborative, this would be leading to successful innovations, and as well as with the fine, gauging right disruptions in technology wise.
Fine. I'll agree to that collaboration part, but I have something to add on it. And what I would like to add is like my shared screen has gone perhaps. Let me again try to share that screen. Is that chart again visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll take it from what Deepthi has said, Chavi has added, Shiji has added, because Shiji actually innovated. She came to know that attendance will be on the basis of intervention. So she intervened in between and then she has gone away.
No, sir. No, I'm here only, sir.
Okay. See, we teachers like to keep like that way to make the things light. So
Yeah, I learned that today. That's a key takeaway from today.
so my submission will be like I don't know. You have to evaluate it. If I see this organization structure, expert leading experts, I have made you. There are two schools of thought. IAS are criticizing other domain experts wherever they are given in charge. They are incapable. Managing and being experts are two different things. Managing a show and being expert are two different things. Every good academician cannot be a good vice chancellor. A good vice chancellor may not be a good academician. Always it is said about a teacher. Teacher may not be a good administrator, though he may be expert is in domain. Expert being an administrator is a different ball game altogether. But Apple took that risk. Steve Jobs took that risk because he wanted to be more close into towards whom. Now the mantra is consumer. You will see this whole organization structure is built around consumer. Just focus closely. Whatever matters to consumer, they have created a department around it. Whatever matters to consumer. If user interface design matters to consumer, what Deepthi was highlighting, they have created a department. If it is so important. If communications are important, when Steve Jobs launched his first iPhone, he said this is one product which combines everything, combines three things. It will combine internet, it will combine communication, it will combine mobile phone. One of them was that it will be a communication device. So if communication is important, they create a department. Design is important, the way products are submitted. So Johnny Ivy perhaps is their designer. The designs of products are important to consumer. Apple was the first one to pay aesthetics. It is an important idea, part of the design. So Gordon wrote that article, 8 components of product quality. And aesthetics was one of them. In HBR, the same paper was published. So design is something, aesthetics, how important it is. It is again close to the consumers. Then your internet software and services, your retail is important for consumers. In Steve Jobs' autobiography, if you read it carefully, how he decided the design of his retail store, you will come to know he visited one of the stores which was the most popular design at that point of time. The store was supposed to open at 10:30. He reached there by 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. and was just moving here and there in front of the store till the store opened. And he was bubbling with a lot of ideas. He mused a lot of ideas. He brooded on the lot of ideas till the store opened. And when he visited the store, he didn't like the experience over there. One more word which was used in the case was the experience. These all things are, since these experts can feel what kind of experience they want to build. Only expert is the one who can feel. It is, this age is all about consumer experience. So consumer building a product around consumer experience, that is the mantra. And who can understand and translate the consumer experience into the reality? It can be no better than the experts who can convert experience into the reality. And therefore, their experts are heading this hardware. Hardware, does it matter to consumer? Yes, it matters. Create another department for it. It's different technology. Imbibing engineering is one part. Technology is another part. Implementing it, how you are going to implement. Engineering is a theory. Technology is implementing those concepts into the reality. And you will see all engineering concepts, the way they have been implemented by different mobile manufacturers, these Apple has done it very differently. So I believe, for me, the mantra is, there are two takeaways for me. One is experts leading experts, which we are not teaching in our books. This should be taught to our students, that actually it is functional structure. Functional structure, we know for functional structure, it is HR, marketing, finance, and production. Functional structure is the one which is organized, an organization structure organized around the functions which matter to consumer. Not the functions which matter to an organization, the functions which matter to a consumer. That is the real functional structure for any company. You may agree to it, you may disagree to it, but after listening in a case study, after listening the different viewpoint, the challenge is to come out to a common conclusion. It may not be correct, but you have to offer a common platform towards the end, or at least even the platform is not common. You should give the place to thoughts and thought process of all of the participants, and try to end on a common resolve. The outcome may not be acceptable for all. That is okay. It's fairly a democratic society. We all are creative. We may all be having our own different thought, different decision on different aspects which are offered to us. So that was from my side, innovation and connecting organizational structure. So people who are close, who can convert experience into technology, they are the middlemen. Middlemen, on other hand, is an experience of consumer. On this side is a technology, matching the two. That is how you should organize, and that therefore Apple is successful. So I believe this is a case-based pedagogy, how to deal with cases. There are many takeaways for me. I always learn from a participant. And that is what I had to say. If you have to add something, you can add, and then otherwise we'll be moving on to another case. Yes, Ruchi, are you still there?
Yeah, sir, I'm still here.
Okay, great. So fine. So If there is nothing to add, I can definitely move to another interesting case study. And this case study, the next one. See, one thing we need to know that this is a very cutthroat competitive age. If you don't innovate, you are not going to survive. The most innovative company of the world, can anybody spell it out? Which is the most innovative company of the world? It is not Apple, sorry. It is 3M, the most innovative company. And the target of 3M's goal is 75% of profit should come from the products which have been created in last 5 years. So you see their portfolio model. In the strategy, I teach that portfolio model. It is innovation which will lead to success. It is not the way our pharmaceutical companies are growing. It is by coming out with generic drugs and manufacturing them. We need to go to the next stage. And one last point which I like to make, Dell, there was a news, Dell is moving out of China. There was a story there. How it matters to China. China doesn't need Dell. China has moved up above the value chain. They are working on so state-of-art technology, Dell hardly matters to them. So it is high time for Indian companies also to be on the higher side on the innovation ladder. So innovation, if you don't innovate, you are going to collapse, you are going to perish in this competitive landscape. That was a message. And the most important message was that organization structure actually can help us to achieve something. In this case, this organization structure, definitely the way you structure your organization will help you to achieve one important aim, and that is innovation.
So one query which is coming in my mind over here is, like we always say that customer delight filters down from employee satisfaction. So this model maybe is very useful to achieve the customer delight, but being from HR background, my still worry is that how it is compatible to the internal workforce, or
you are HR, therefore you are saying so. That customer delight will come from employee delight.
Yes,
Both
it is
interconnected. I agree to that. In a way, but perhaps that is not within the contours of our discussion, what we are having today. But customer delight and employee delight are connected. But what I'll tell is that I'll have to take a different session because I have worked on that. Here, before I take your question, Dr. Jaya, one more important thing I'd like to point out. Don't forget who is at the top. If it was Steve Jobs, the outcome was different. This person hasn't brought many innovative products for last 10 years. Don't forget it. This leadership matters in spite of a departmentation. Can you name 3 innovative products, cutting edge technology products which Tim Cook has brought? Name them. So you just forgetting the larger picture. Leadership matters in spite of all the departmentation. Just list out the products which Steve Jobs launched, and the daughter of Steve Jobs criticized the latest iPhone. What is so? It is all just replication of iPhone 13. There is nothing new in the iPhone 14. He was a good operations. He was chief operating officer. Though later on all were reporting, but as a chief operating officer, he was good in managing operations. So fine. Coming to your customer delight and employee delight, that's a different ball game altogether. But everything is connected with everything. It's a network world, and it is important which you are talking about. Some other case at some other point of time, I may bring that as well.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. So this was from this case study. And there is one more interesting case study which I'll bring, but just 2 minutes of introduction for that. What is the most interesting recruitment method which you have heard till now? How to recruit people? What is the best way? Interviews? What are the other mechanisms apart from the way people should be recruited?
So social media recruiting, we can also use to recruit the individuals.
Yes. So what we should watch on social media?
So their profile, their connectivity with the other peoples to whom they are connected,
Sir,
their
headhunting
personality
could be the one.
Okay, you work in some organization, Madhuri ji?
Sir, through this you can easily connect, easily judge
Are you working in, my question is that, are you working in some organization?
Yes, sir. I'm right now on maternity leave, but I'm associate with IBMR IPS Academy, sir, only. Sorry, sorry, sir.
There are so many participants. This is work-life balance. If you keep attending the classes in the evening, there will be many participants.
Yes.
So I go by that.
Yes, sir.
Fine. I forgot the point which you are making. Can you repeat it a bit?
Sir, the other way of recruiting is social media recruitment.
Social media,
sir.
got it. I got
sir.
by the voice of a child.
Yeah. So sorry, sir.
I started to see music in that voice. So social media, can you help your IPS Academy when you come back from a maternity in appointing people for faculty position there? Can you identify good faculty people using their social media profile?
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. Through Instagram and through Twitter, LinkedIn.
I know all these names.
Yeah.
The point is that prepare a paper, prepare a definite model and submit it to IPS Academy.
Yes, sir. Sir, definitely I will, sir. And
it doesn't seem to be convinced by your idea. So, please,
sir, basically I'm the research scholar also, and the topic of my PhD work is still this is only recruitment and selection through social media recruitment.
Therefore, you are justifying your topic in a way. I agree to that. It's a popular medium. What to do, what not to do, which companies are doing, I'll come to that later, but it's an interesting one. And US was using social media to reject a lot of visas when the Trump was on chair.
Okay, sir.
So,
thank you so much, sir.
Fine.
Yeah.
So I opened one very interesting, again, this video is for McKinsey, one of the world's best consultancy organization. They use a very unique way to recruit people. And let's go through it and downsides and upsides of that. That is our case number 2. And with that discussion, after that discussion, we'll close off today's session. So let me share the another video. Just 1 minute. Yes. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Interview, which takes up roughly 25 to 30 minutes of every interview that we do. And it really tests many different aspects of your problem solving ability, as we like to call it. So I think experiencing a few of those and doing a few of those cases before you come into the room actually holds you in good stead, because you understand the will take place. And once you're in control of that, you can actually focus on the question in front of you, and you know what you're doing and you know where you need to get to.
I actually didn't know what a case interview was 2 weeks prior to my actual interview. And the first thing you do is you go to the McKinsey website. They have some examples. You look at those. You try and find someone who's either done the job or has done an interview before. Do some practice cases. I personally found that was enough. I came across people who were also interviewing at the same time as me, who were discussing, look, how many cases have you done to prepare with your case consulting club? And people would say sort of 50, 60. It, to me, just sounded a little bit too much. I think that the interviewer is really looking for your intrinsics in terms of problem solving. Don't try to learn frameworks by heart. The case studies, they are so unique that there will, I promise you, never be the exact right framework for it. It's more about being open and find your own approach to solve the product.
You really are solving problems that the consultant that is interviewing you has experienced through his or her own work with a client. So it's a real problem that has been solved. And so that makes it much more relatable when you're able to discuss a real life situation, even though it's confidential and no names are mentioned. It becomes more relatable than trying to fit golf balls onto an airplane. Advice that I got when I was preparing for my interviews was to just come up with a list of all the possible business terms and concepts that could come up in a case interview. And then when I was actually doing the case in the interview, I could just pick from my big list and come up with my own framework.
McKinsey is not looking for the perfect answer in the case interview. Obviously, it would take much more time and maybe even a whole McKinsey team to give the perfect answer to one of these case questions. But in the interview, we're looking for how you approach the situation and how you structure and communicate it.
I think one more tip that I would give candidates is listen. Listen to your interviewer, because he will give you tips or leads to go into the right direction during your case.
It's funny, I think that sometimes when you're giving people cases, they think we're trying to trick them. And we're trying to give some case that has some weird twist. There's never a twist. It's never something that strange. We're really doing our best to be as straightforward as we can. Again, to just see what's going on in your mind and understand how you think and understand how you solve problems.
What I see a lot happening in the case interviews is people often sort of directly answer the question that is posed to them in the most obvious or most common way of thinking. So if you say, what are the drivers for like market growth that you can think of? Being able to contextualize that to the specific industry and the specific problem that this client is facing, being able to weave in facts that have emerged from earlier on in the interview, and then draw implications to what it actually means for the business and the answer that the head client is looking for in the way the case is laid out to you, is what will make you distinct from all the other candidates.
Ultimately, when you're going through this case interview with the other interviewer, he's looking to have a conversation with you. He's not looking for you to give a monologue about what you think the answer is. So make sure that in your preparation phase that you very much do it with your peers.
The first thing is practicing in groups. I think it really helps to be able to play the interviewer and the interviewed role, because you'll find things that other people are doing that you might reflect on, I wonder whether I do that as well. And it gives you an opportunity to change those things, as well as interviewing with some of your friends. It's a bit more disarming. You can make more mistakes and they can tell you more honest feedback about the way that you are answering the question. So that's definitely a great way of preparing.
There's a couple of tips and tricks for the case interview. So one would be to listen very carefully. Another one would be to take notes while the consultant is speaking. What is also very helpful is to structure your thoughts prior to answering the question. So take some time and write down the structure of your answer on a sheet of paper, and then try to guide the consultant through your answer.
Dealing with numbers is a crucial component of a daily guide, because most problems can be quantified. So during the interview, you will have to show that you are familiar with dealing with numbers.
I think people freak out a lot about how much math we're going to ask you. It's more about, can you do some basic analysis?
One thing to do to prepare for the quantitative part is practicing with someone next to you. Like doing the calculations yourself is one thing, but then someone watching you is a whole different story.
So what I always suggest to people is take your time, very clearly write out for the interviewer all of your calculations. You know you can do it. Take a deep breath and work through it.
If you find yourself in a tough situation, just round things to a point that makes you comfortable and wait for the interviewer to tell you that, no, I want the exact answer, not just round and go on.
It's important to just pause and digest what you've just heard. I think if you didn't catch anything or you need to clarify, ask those questions. The interview is there to help you. The answers will start to naturally come, but just you see so many candidates who will just go straight into answering the problem. Just, there's no rush. That first minute or two can really be your saving grace. And, for one, it will let you just get over the nerves of just being in the case interview to start with.
Fine. That was from my side. And now the point is the very first question which I'd like to pose to all of you is what was the mechanism of appointment in this particular case?
Sir, McKinsey and Company, they were using very interesting method for recruiting people through case studies. Basically, they were, exposing the candidates with the case studies, and they were asking, probably they were asking real-time problems which the company itself was facing. And the major pros, what we can say by this kind of methodology to put, to interview a candidate is, it basically it makes the candidate look natural and also give original answers. And also the company was not looking for the perfect answers. They were they just want they just want to check the attitude of the candidates and how they want to attempt to the case or the problem which is given in that particular situation in order to select.
Can you come again and tell me three important takeaways? Three important takeaways. This is a case study method of recruiting that we have already taken. What are the three important takeaways from the video?
For me, sir, first important takeaway is because with this method or with this video, we can say this is more candidate-centric interview method. Means they can give their suggestions and their approach, what they think about that particular situation. And also, everything cannot be assessed in terms of black and white. So
let me paraphrase, Deepthi, my question.
Yeah.
What they actually judge when they recruit people based on case study? What is their mechanism of judging a candidate?
How you approaching the case, how you approaching the problem, and how you are communicating that problem or your possible solution to the interviewers.
Fine. How you are communicating and how you are approaching. These are the two things. How this particular method is different from interview method? It is better, worse, or it should be a part of interview?
It is, again, it depends upon company to company, and also it very much depends upon how many number of candidates company want to select. Because
okay, let me make this question more specific. If a person is to be appointed for a teaching position, should the case study not be used to appoint a person as an assistant professor in a business school?
It can be a part of. It can be a part of recruitment process, because
so what we can judge when anybody is made a part of this process. What, as a recruiter, you are a principal of that college or director of that institute, what you will judge of that candidate?
Basically his approach of looking at things, whether he or she would be able to provide me the right answers or not. But
they're not looking for any right answer. There is nothing black and white. You just now said.
Yes,
you're contradicting yourself.
No. So that is what I'm saying, that I would not be looking for the exact right answers or the stereotypical answers which traditional.
What you will be looking to? What you will be looking to?
To how they communicate and how
so
they.
You will look into the approach of the person.
Yes.
What do you mean by the approach of that person?
Approach of the person means how positive, maybe how positive they want to, that kind of problem to be tackled.
Sir, can I say?
Yes, Dr. Chavi.
So I think so. It is an approach where the theoretical thing can be related to the business life situation, and we want to check the participants' intellect, how the theory can be related to the case methodology, and the things exactly can be portrayed in front of the students, exactly what makes a difference in different B schools when we teach. So this would have been a recruiting style where we connect the theory to the real life situation and the analyzing and presenting the things approach of that person.
My question, Dr. Chavi, listen it to again. We are very good in communication, but I got my answer at the end of the day. What I'm looking forward is that when you are interviewing a candidate for a teaching position through case study, what you will look into that candidate. If I'm interviewing Dr. Chavi, I have given her a case study. Go through this case study, come after 15 minutes or half an hour. Just tell me the result of that case study. What should I look into that person?
I think so. Yes, sir. I think so. It will be the conceptual skills.
Respond. Then I'll come to Dr. Jaya.
Okay, it will be the conceptual skills and the technical skills of that person that will put the things exactly in the frame, putting the shoes.
Conceptual skills, do you check at any point of time in a case study?
So when we are
conceptual skills, you will check in the case study presentation.
So basically, when we are doing the case study, we try to co-align the two things, that is the theory and the real life situation, business situation exactly. So while selecting, I think so we are putting a situation in front of the person and how the person handles that situation with all that intellect.
But the first starting point, Dr. Chavi, to me will be like, is he or she able to understand the situation?
Yes, sir.
Before moving in it. If a person is not able to understand the situation, any contribution made by any person, does it carry any meaning, howsoever good it may be? My question is that whether a person is listening carefully or not. That is the point which has been made just now in video.
Okay.
Was a person attentive or not? And they don't care how many questions you ask before making the things clear. You can clarify that situation by umpteen amount of questions, whatever you wish to ask. So first you should be there at least on the ground zero. Clear the ground zero first before attempting to solve anything. Why you are jumping every time? Why you want to have an avatar kind of person? I am an avatar. Before becoming any kind of avatar, let's be a common man and try to understand what is going on. That is what they wish to see, to my understanding. Whether as a common man, he is using his senses to understand what is at hand.
Yes, sir.
Then I'll come to what is very interesting and very important, what you are telling, the solution, the intellect part of it. His contribution, her contribution is solving the situation. Should we be really interested in solution, Dr. Chavi?
I think so. Yes, from my
we
side.
want to solve everything in this world. Whatever is possible. Very challenging. In hindsight, whatever we have done, we challenge ourselves every day.
Yes,
and
sir.
We would have lived different or taken decision differently 10 years back. In hindsight, we challenge everything. I'll come to you, Dr. Jaya, please.
So this case study interview, I mean, my three takeaway is that.
Right now, Dr. Jaya, I am intervening you. Is this method using anywhere in Indore? In recruiting faculty?
No, sir, I haven't came across with this concept so far.
Should it not be used?
Sorry, sir?
Should it not be used?
It should be used.
So you are going to recommend your academy now. It should be used.
Yes, sir. We all, I think we can recommend.
I think this is very important way to recruit any faculty. I'll let you know later why it is so. And I will connect it with the organization for innovation. I'll do that as well. With the first video. Please continue now, Dr. Jay.
So, so the main idea behind is how well I am able to identify the key issues or the key problems or the key challenges in that given situation. First is my motive to know is that. Secondly, how well I can, give solutions, recommendations, suggestions from my end. How well I can, pursue or perceive that situation as you said, as a ordinary individual person on a real-time basis, giving practical solutions. And lastly, on the basis of my response, how I am distinct from the other candidates. My recommendations, my suggestion will make me distinct from the other candidates. So this is how,
Fine, I got it. Other participants must have also, how unique you are in your approach.
Exactly.
I'll try to connect to that as well. I'll take it. Yes, anyone else? Case study. Now the Dr. Jaya, in presence of few witnesses like Dr. Modak and all, she's saying that she'll be recommending IBS Academy this case study method for appointing faculty. But rest assured, in Management B schools, I'll be appointing next visiting faculty in my department based on case study. And next time when I become Vice Chancellor, I'll be doing that. Till now, I haven't done that. But this particular video has inspired me to do that. That I'll be doing. Yes, any other takers? Case study method. Dr. Chavi is also seemingly convinced. Yes,
sir, here, Ruchi.
Ruchi, I'll come to you. Nidhi is there to intervene. She's raising her hand. And she wants her P to be filled by Dr. Modak. So she wants to intervene. Okay, just on the lighter side. Yes, Nidhi.
So what I can make out of this case study is that one of the key takeaways what I found was how structured you are while you're responding. Because it is essential that you grab the problem first, and you shouldn't be in a hurry to respond to that. First, you should analyze the entire situation, and then probably in a very structured fashion, you should try to give all the probable solutions to it.
Are you a faculty Nidhi somewhere? Are you a faculty Nidhi somewhere?
Yes, sir, in IPS
you
Academy.
I academy only. Okay.
Yes,
let me tell me one percentage which I have observed. Around 80 to 90% of students fail to understand the case itself.
Right, sir.
How many times you have exercised case in your class? Their basic failure doesn't lie in making presentation. Their basic failure lies in understanding the situation.
Right.
Majority of them are not able to contextualize that situation. And therefore, whatever what they built their solution on, the basic premise is very weak.
Right, sir.
To me, if anybody understands the basic premise, he has cleared 60 to 70% of my interview. Understanding the basic premise. It is called empathy. In emotional intelligence also, it has got a place. Most of us, where we fail is, we miss the basic précis of that case, gist of the case, the undercurrent of that case. We try to suggest the structured thought, what you are telling towards the end. It comes from the very weak premise. If any structured outcome is coming from very weak premise, out of 100, how many numbers you are going to give to that candidate? And let me give you another counterpart. If there is a strong premise and response is not very structured, what are the marks you are going to give? I'll give higher marks to a person who is able to understand the premise. Structure I can teach. Common sense I cannot teach. Logic, it is very difficult to inculcate logic in a person. Objectivity in a person. Reason in a person. If any person is imbibed with these three, it is very easy to develop the other part. This weakness I have observed throughout. I've taken thousands of interviews of faculty members, not only here at Indore also, at different institutes, at other places, cities. The challenge is we fail to understand the basic gist. Even I have taken classes at different institutes. Miserably fail people. People fail miserably in getting the basic gist. We call it synthesizing. You go through a case study. Can you synthesize in one line what the issue company is facing? And it's very difficult to that. Hardly or by luck, few of the groups are able to get it during a semester. Developing that sense, they are not at all interested. This company is not interested in solutions. It is interested in how you approach to that solution. What is your approach? The way you move towards that problem. One of the ways to understand the perspective from where the problem is arising. You are taking up the perspective of the consumer, perspective of the manager, perspective of any other person who is part of that case. From whose perspective you are understanding that case? Whose perspective is primary for the solution of the case? Then comes the framework. The word they use, the framework. This is all what matters. What framework you are using to solve the case? What is your portfolio? What is on x-axis and what is on y-axis? Which portfolio model you are using to solve that case? How logically you are compartmentalizing different issues? And how your solution will be able to alleviate that problem? It will come from your experience. It is not enough to live number of years in the life. More important is how much you are able to assimilate the experience which is happening all around you. The more you have assimilated, learned from your experience, the better will be your response. They want to see what is your experience. How many situations you have similarly handled. They will be able to know. Therefore, there is one more way people are recruiting. It is called gamification. Why people should not recruit through interview. Lately, when I was at IIM Ahmedabad, it was a great lecture from one of the professors. That is the only class which I liked. It was on qualitative research. Both are in qualitative research. Everything is false. The interviewer is asking, where from you heard your company? And interviewers know he's not going to give the correct answer. The interview will say, I was dreaming since my childhood to become a part of this great empire. So it is my dream company. Therefore, I have come to. An interviewer also know he's narrating false. So should we believe in this process? The professor who is a pediatrician at Ahmedabad, he's a faculty also of HR, who did his FPM from IIM Bangalore, and he helps companies to design recruitment strategy. He has got very good publication in different journals as well. And very careless kind of person, but his subject foothold was immaculate, very firmly rooted. Though majority of class didn't like his lectures, but I was the one who liked his lectures like anything. But the point which I could catch from there is like they are bringing more case studies, more gamification. The reason is like you are able to evaluate the real self. In interview, you don't get the real self to evaluate. Here, compulsion, as a matter of compulsion, candidates are forced to come out with their real self. How as a matter of fact, are you able to bring forth the real self of the people? So companies are looking all around to fetch this real self, bring out this real self. And case study may be one of the things which brings again this real self. One more thing I'll add to later. Before that, I may listen to any other contributor who wish to contribute. Any other idea? Okay, then I should bring one more idea here before moving towards the closer. One very important thing case study is that when you give a case study, what for companies are recruiting you? What for companies are recruiting you? They are recruiting you for problem solving. Do you have a problem solving mindset? Do you analyze and synthesize a problem or not? Do you have a critical thinking? everything I will be able to grab from you when I give you a case study. Or you want to make that problem more complex by way of offering a different solution. How simple is your solution? How effective is your solution? Yes, somebody was saying something. Yes, Dr. Jaya.
So before problem solving, this is like my viewpoint, that before we go into the problem solving mode, first we should be good at identifying the problem well, because a problem.
That I have already said, Dr. Jaya.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Jaya, that I said beforehand. But I am not only understanding that problem, which framework? There is a HR. You are from HR?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Jaya, you are from HR? Just read paper of framework. Which mental framework you use to solve a problem? This mental framework, assessing the mental framework itself is a deep down research. So understanding that your approach, which will signify your problem, your framework. So, for example, Gandhiji said for about how the scheme should be created by a nation. He gave a very simple formula for that. You see that the benefits of any scheme is trickling down to the poorest of poor. Now see his approach. The problem may be there. It may have gone to different politicians at that point of time. It went to Gandhiji also. He gave a litmus test, very simple. Evaluate a policy. If the benefits of the same is trickling down to the poorest of poor, that is the correct policy for the nation.
Sir, can we relate it to the people capability maturity model, or that is being applied in TQM, or it may be some sort of critical analysis or reviewing the things, or we can relate it to something like that?
Dr. Chavi, I like to attend your classes. You just intimidated me by your knowledge. So I feel I personally feel like so immature after listening to your people maturity model and all. So see, there are a lot of these things you can relate, Dr. Chavi, based on the subject of discipline in which you connect to. But what I am trying to say is very pretty basic. You don't need to be an expert in rocket science to understand what I am saying. So you can connect it to TQM, and why only to TQM or this model or that model? You can even connect to finance. Why we cannot connect it to finance? We should only look to the direct cost. We should not look to the overheads while recruiting the people. So it is limited by our creativity. It is limited by our ingenuity. You can connect it to any subject and any model. This is the framework actually. So it is like, I'll call it conceptualizing, as you said in beginning. We can conceptualize being a teacher. But when you are interviewing a candidate, will you conceptualize it? Why you are recruiting that person? Tell me why you are recruiting that teacher. One aim of recruiting that teacher.
To impart education, that is the basic domain that I want a specialist for finance or a organization behavior. I will be recruiting that person. I think so. Probably.
The point is that I'll be recruiting a teacher who is able to connect knowledge or assimilate that knowledge in my students. Simple. So whether that so-called abstruse knowledge, this discontinuous knowledge in a very simple form, this teacher will be able to serve to my students or not. Number one. Number two, will my teacher be able to give a different point of view to my students? Different point of view, unique point of view. Third, whether this teacher will be able to unleash creativity amongst my students, or whether he will make my student run on the mill kind of subjects. So these are 2 or 3 parameters in an institution. And by case study, otherwise what they will say in interview, they will say all kind of rosy words, rosy sentences which you want to listen. You won't be able to echo out their real self. You will be able to echo out their real self when you put in that. So gamification, I'm working on gamification. I started to work, not that. I'm collaborating in a project with Professor Shukla, who is there in the academics department of IIM Ahmedabad, on gamification of one of the subjects. In game, you have to participate. You have to play compulsorily. And by way of playing, I will be able to understand your attitude, your perception, your personality. I'll be able to decode that. Otherwise, doing the same with the help of interview, it will be a tough nut for me to crack. So this recruitment procedure, through, I believe, case studies, and there are many other ways as well. Right now, let me give one example, then I again will open the floor. I was in US around 6 months back. Day after also I am going. Somehow, Professor Modak cajoled me to take a lecture before going there. Then I observed one person interview. He was good in IT. What languages I know these languages. So interviewer, those were the days when video interviews were taken. The interviewer said that I am not interested in the languages you know. Later on, what came out was that they were only interested that how good a person is in learning. They only evaluate one thing. Are you good in learning or not? If you are good in learning, if your learning appetite is good, then they will teach you any language whatsoever matters. So the whole focus of the interview was how good you are to learn. Now my question is that, is the interview a good tool to understand that how good you are in learning? What is the other mode of interviewing if you want to assess that particular trait of an individual? How good you are at learning. My point is that let's not be guided by the age-old model like interviews. Let's invent something. The job for which you are interviewing, let's first assess that what you want from them. Once you are clear what you want from them, case study is not one size fits all. Maybe case study fits in, maybe case study doesn't fit in. There may be other modes of assessing a candidate based on the trait, what you are evaluating. If you are evaluating or recruiting a person for social service, is the case study right way of recruiting people? Maybe not. There may be other ways. In US, they don't consider referencing to be bad word. If a professor is referencing a student for appointment in a university, they consider it to be a very credible thing. Vis-a-vis in India, nobody should reference anyone anywhere. This person has come from a reference. Reference is a bad word in India, but not in US. So referencing there means the professor, acclaimed professor, reference that this person must have some substance. Even you do recruit them without interview, without case study. You have created another mode of recruiting, that is referencing. And in companies like TCS, companies like Infosys, they are paying you some salary, some bonus also, some money also. If your references are good. So let's not be bogged down. See, we are talking of innovation. We should not be bogged down from the age-old frameworks which have been created. We should create our frameworks, our own framework, which is the best way to. So let me give you one example of ITM. They used to approve, before I joined, they used to appoint professors based on the interview. I discontinued that process. I said, if you want to appoint a professor, call him for a week for lectures in your campus. Let them interact with the employee. Let them interact with the students. You pay a couple of lakhs to them, more than a 2 lakh salary to a professor. When you fail to judge him fully in the interview, after 3 months, you start saying that he's not fit in, he's not, we could not observe this and that, and you start take steps to remove him. This all pollutes the culture of an institute. You're appointing on a senior position. The right way of recruiting is you should call them, make them part of the culture. You should see that whether they are right fit into your culture. they are able to deliver what you need or not, and then you should recruit. This is first change which I brought into ITM. Second change which I brought into ITM was that none of the faculty should be recruited ever without first interacting with the student, which may be true for your institutions as well. But I personally used to sit in that interview because one bad faculty, if it adds to an institute, it will spoil generations. At least they should be good in communication. What needs to be communicated to the student, they should know how to use the right words, right language in order to disseminate that message. Empathy, that is what I have been reiterating from the beginning. It is very important. So last, why not to, if you ask me in case study, I will appoint person through case study only those persons who ask most questions for clarification from the case study. That will be my litmus test. This is the person who doesn't want to work in any kind of ambiguity. He doesn't want to work in any kind of assumptions. He wants to clear the ground zero first. He or she will be the right candidate to me for recruitment. That is my take. Your take may be different. There is no one answer to a particular case. There will all are creative. We all are geniuses. We all can contribute. But for me, asking the quality of question a candidate will ask, I will judge based on that. It will come by his experience. It will come from his intellectual ability. It will come from his frame of mind. It will come from the way, overall, the way he sees the life, his view about the life, his perception about the life. So that was from my side. These were the two cases without break. Courtesy to Kali Charanji, he permitted me to do away with 2 breaks and continue with this Pathan movie for 2 hours, where all we are heroes of that movie. So don't take me as sexist if I'm telling hero, I mean heroines as well. So it is not that kind of approach. So that was from my side. 2 things I thought they should be brought into fore in discussion, and I think I have been able to make one point very clear, that if it is a case study, participation is important. And to my understanding, it will be less of a burden on IPS Academy, since they will have to distribute only 10 certificates who have opened that camera. I put whose cameras are open. So Dr. Ritu Mishra's cameras have just got open. So she should be given 5 to 10 marks out of 100. No, Shalini Singh camera is also on. So anyway, just humor. It is up to the IPS Academy. I'm really thankful to Dr. Kali Charan Modak to make me part of this ATAL Academy lecture. And in this evening, and many of the female candidates, I am seeing that they are, how we all are adjusting to our work-life balance. My family is in US, so therefore they are calling just now. They must have woken up. So they are calling again and again. I have to put them off. So that is from my side. If anything, you want any clarification, Shalini seems to be somewhere in some hotel or enjoying some cold drink or some coffee. So she wants to make a presence.
No, sir. Actually, I am with my child, and his time is of walking. That's why I'm here. He started crying that time.
I understood that walking actually creates a lot of creativity amongst us. So keep walking, Shalini. You will be imbibed with lot of creativity at the end of the day, and that too with your child. Definitely, you will become a good problem solver as well at the end of the day. That is my learning with my child. Thank you. Yes, anyone else? I think many more are there. So that was from my side. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Kali Charanji. Thank you, Professor Kushwa, Vivek Kushwaji, for making me part of this ATAL FDP IPS Academy. But this is again the same thing, work-life balance. All again there, from there. So we all are sailing in the same boat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So participants, if you are having any query, so you can ask to the sir, otherwise we'll be winding up with the session.
I think we should give them opportunity to have their dinner. So whatever queries were there, we took them midway. So that way, have best wishes for your dinner and good night from my side. Thank you, everyone.
So it has been such an honor to be the part of this wonderful session. So on behalf of IPS Academy IBMR, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guest, Dr. Yogesh Upadhyay, sir, for giving us such insightful session. And even sir, the last session which I have attended of yours of that Starbucks case study. So I used to discuss that case study in my classes on regular basis. Now I got to more that Apple one and the McKinsey, and the way you just talked about those case study, the insight which you have given us is really insightful. And definitely all the assistant professor, associate professor, research scholars, those who are attending this program on this virtual platform, they will be benefiting more. And we are listening you, sir, from almost 1.5 year. So it's a great opportunity to always hear you, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable time despite of your busy schedule. As I discussed you that you were in BHU day before yesterday. So thank you so much, sir, on behalf of entire IPS Academy IBMR, for sparing your valuable time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Modak ji, Professor Modak, and all the participants. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So thank you so much to all the participants for attending the day one of this particular ATAL sponsored faculty development program. Some important announcement for attending this particular program. As you all might be knowing, this is a 2-week faculty development program. So first week is on the virtual platform, which we are conducting on Zoom, and second week will be on the physical mode that will be conducting in IPS Academy IBMR campus itself. And I also thanks to the observer, those who were attending from the AICT side has been deputed to observe this particular event. And I thanks to ATAL, thanks to IPS Academy, IBMR, I thanks to Dr. Vivek Singh Kushwaha, sir, the director and the coordinator of this ATAL FDP program. So I thank you all on behalf of IBMR IPS Academy and the participants, those who are interacting. So we'll be selecting top 20 participants from this FDP, and they'll be getting some benefits from the ATAL and IPS Academy side. So keep participating, keep learning, and thank you so much. Good night to everyone. Thank you so much.